So at the end of the last video, there was a little teaser. I was wondering if you guys could figure out what this is going to be. Well, here's the answer. It's going to be the worm farm. So we found a little shady spot behind the shed. I'm building it as insulated as I can because I had a worm farm in the past in my garage at home, which worked pretty good, but as soon as you go outside, those worms don't last in this heat down here. So my plan is to kind of create two worm farms, really. It's going to have a divider in the middle here. There's a board on the outside and a board on the inside, and in between I'm going to fill with this stuff. This is called EcoFill. Basically the blow-in insulation you see in attics. Looks like this. Just looks like cotton candy, but I wouldn't eat it. It's fiberglass. I'm just filling these little gaps in here with the EcoFill, and there'll be one in the back as well. And then there'll be doors on here that open straight down. I'll have drainage on both sides. I have to put those in maybe today. It's gonna sit on a concrete slab back here that I'm building. I'm probably gonna cement these actually into the ground, so it'll be kind of permanent back here. I think the shaded area back here plus the insulation, I have an ice machine. I think each day I can drop some ice on top just to like cool it off in there. It'll keep them pretty happy. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Well, I went and picked up the rest of the trees that I needed, almost all of them anyway. Went to a very cool place in Tomball, Texas. It is called Arbor Gate. It's one of the better nurseries in the area. And I thought I'd see if they had the rest of the things that I needed. And they had almost everything. They just didn't have the one thing I thought they might have because I was told they did have them. And that is a Smith fig. But I was there and I was talking to some lovely ladies in the greenhouse where I got over there. You see that's a Joey avocado. I got two of those, and I got a fantastic avocado as well, and the rest of my citrus. So I got these. Oh, and that's a goji berry. So I thought that might be fun. You know, it's one of those things that are supposed to be really good for you, and people seem to like them. You can dry them and sell them that way. Anyway, while I was talking to these ladies in the greenhouse, I mentioned that I couldn't find a Smith fig, and that was what I really went there for. And the lady's like, oh, well, I have a couple Smith figs on my property. Apparently she has kind of like a big farm and orchard. And she's like, I could just give you a couple cuttings if you want. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So today in the mail, this is only a few days ago, today in the mail, she sent me not only a Smith fig, or 5 of them, 5 cuttings. She sent me 5 cuttings of LSU Tiger fig, and one of what the heck's it called? It's considered one of the best figs out there. It's little kernels, something black press fig, I think, LBLC, something like that. Anyway, she sent me one of those as well. And that is supposed to be, here it is, Colonel Little's Black Cross Fig, I think it's called. Anyway, so I did figs 2 different ways. I might as well show you since I'm here. I stuck a couple in the pots, and then I did some of these, they're called fig pops. So they look like little lollipops. You stick them in dirt in a bag, and you wrap them up tight, and then you can see if the roots are growing when they hit the side of the plastic in the bag. It's a way of propagating a lot of plants, but especially figs. I've seen them do this right on a tree. They just basically scrape the cambium layer up, and they put the bag on the tree on like a long branch, and the tree literally sprouts roots while it's still growing on the tree. and then you just cut the branch off and plant it. It is wild what you could do with figs. So there's a guy on video doing that, and I think it's just wild that he gets a perfect fig every time, and he uses like an 8-foot branch. So he's got an 8-foot tree that he could sell probably, figs aren't cheap. You could probably sell it for $50 each time he does that. So, and this lady gave them to me for free. She sent me 10 fig cuttings just out of the kindness of her heart, and I thought that was awesome, so I thought I'd mention it. Beautiful day out here at the farm. I'm working on the grape trellis finally. So Gary, he's kind of like a pack rat. If a pack rat, hoarded a bunch of really useful shit, and he came over and he brought me this really strong wire. I don't know if you can see it there. So I've got these grape trellis vice grips basically. They the wire goes through here and out this side, and it can only go one way. So you can pull it tight, and then this goes up on the post like through here. So the wire comes through here, and you can pull it tight, and then it can't go back. So that's strong, but then what I'm gonna use is a T-post down the middle to hold up the wire even more, because grapevines can get pretty heavy, especially once they got all the fruit on them. So if you see, I'm doing the it's basically I forget what they call it, but it's 2 lines of grapevines. You have a lower one and an upper one. It's not the most ideal way. The most ideal way is to do 2 top lines. They get the most sun, so the bottom grapes don't always produce as well as the top ones, because the top kind of shades the bottom. But for my purposes, it should be just fine. Grapes are kind of an experiment here anyway. I don't even know if we'll end up selling them, or might use them for making grape jelly and stuff to sell. But this is working really good. I already did this one over here, as you can see. The wire's through. It's not tight yet, but you basically pull it through, and I don't have these anchored in yet, but once you pull it through, it's really tight. And the tension on this wire that Gary gave me, I can't even cut it with wire cutters like tin snips. It's that strong. I have to use an angle grinder, and the angle grinder has trouble getting through it. So that's how strong this thing is. It's almost like that slinky, where it's like, it's wound up like that, and you have to kind of unwind it, and it snaps back if you're not careful. So I've had to be pretty careful with it, but it is great wire. It's going to work really well for this grape trellis. So anyway, that's what I'm doing today. I got if you see some T-posts on the ground there, that's for the raspberry trellis. So that's going to be not as strong a wire, but I'm going to use some trellising on the raspberry. I have a wreck cane raspberries, so they work pretty good without a trellis, but raspberries always can use a little bit of a trellis. They get really tall and kind of rangy, and it helps keep them not only just upright and off the ground, easier to harvest, but it's good for keeping them from getting diseases and stuff from the ground and just bending over. And like I said, I'll be able to walk down past them a lot better. So that's next. So just working on the orchard. It's supposed to be dry this week. As you can see, it's not quite dry yet. I did drive the tractor down there and put the rest of the trees that need to go in the ground out, but I'm not gonna be able to get the tractor back and forth too much without sinking it. So I'm gonna let it dry out the rest of the week, and then probably plan on the rest like later this week, and get everything going out here. And then I have to dig a water line, electricity. I'm gonna dig a electric and a water line. I think I'm gonna put a fountain in the pond just to keep it a little cleaner. Aerates the pond and keeps the algae down and stuff, so it's good for the fish. I want to keep a healthy pond. I don't want it to be all scummy and gross. Hopefully you guys can see me all right. I'm under the awning of the wash station. Show you what I just finished up. One of the last few pieces of the puzzle in the wash station was going to be a drying rack. It's good for root vegetables. You can put them out there and dry them off, then pack them up. Or it's really good for lettuce, and that's kind of why you have the fans up there. But anyway, this is what I built. It's just a frame that's kind of attached to the roof. If you notice, earlier when I made this, I put in some electricity above there because I knew this is where this was going to go. I'm going to need electricity for the fans. So the fans sit on a little trellis kind of thing that I built. You know, they're movable, but they're pretty tight. I can still get to the, you know, to turn them on and off and stuff here. I'll probably use I have an outdoor plug, kind of a power strip that they're all going to be plugged into. I'll probably use that to turn it on and off and just keep them at the same level. But there probably will be times where I want more force of the fans and less force of the fans. So having that access to them is really nice. The bottom part is 1/4 inch. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 1/4 inch hardware cloth, other known as chicken coop wire for a lot of people. It's on this piece here, and you can see I put this on there. It's kind of pretty tight, and then you can spin it and knock anything else off, bring it back on. I just used some bolts on the edges. I probably should have put those in a little better. I was trying to figure it all out, and as I was figuring it out, I put it on and didn't feel like taking it back off. It's on there really good, and as long as the bolts don't come out this way, they're gonna stay. It's gonna stay in. If the bolts do start working themselves out, I can put some nuts on them to keep them in place, and just take it apart. But I'm gonna try it without, because I think it's gonna stay pretty good anyway. So this is pretty solid with that latch on. The latch is in there pretty good. It's kind of nice. It goes in and then turns, and you can't pull it out unless you turn it back. So so it's in there pretty good. The structure is pretty solid, it seems, even though it's not bolted in the floor here or anything. It's, you know, because it's bolted to the actual frame of the building and the roof. Even though it's not bolted on the ground there, it's still pretty solid. So I'm pretty happy with the way it came out, and I think it's going to work good. Hopefully you can hear me over the, oh, it just turned off. That's the AC for the cooler is right there. I'm standing between the two buildings because I want to show you what I did back here. So I was a little concerned. You know, I have well water, so it tends to be kind of sandy around here. So I wanted to make sure I got a filter on the water. And I was also a little concerned, you know, just even though I've had it tested and it's fine, and I've drinking it and I've been fine. You never know when there's going to be bacteria from rains or something gets into the aquifer, and I just want to make sure that any water that I use to clean off the produce here at the farm is free of any kind of microbes. So what I did was I bought this thing, which is a UV, basically it's a really strong UV light where the water passes through it, and it basically kills any microorganisms that might be in the water. So it's just another safety feature. Just you know, I never want to get anyone sick from something that I did here at the farm. So I'm pretty cognizant of that, and I wanted to be extra careful. So I did that. And I also have these here. They're like a home whole home filters for your water system, but one's a particle filter, filters out any sand or any kind of debris in the water, and the other one is a carbon filter to make it taste better. So if you see I have this blue line going down, this line goes down under the office building, and it goes to an ice machine connector inside there. So I can hook up the ice machine inside the office. I'm gonna use ice not only probably at the farmer's market to keep things cool, but also in the worm farm, which we're gonna walk to right now. Show you what we did there. So I'm expecting a shipment of red wiggler worms this week because the worm farm is done. See what we did here. So this is basically the worm farm. It's 2 parts that can be separated inside. So if you can see back there, there's a board. That's the board that goes between the two. I haven't painted it yet. I'm thinking about rubberizing it like I did the inside. Anyway, oh, this is heavy. So that's the top. I made it a little stronger by putting these little boards on there. It's only 1/2-inch plywood, and it's warping a little bit even though I put a bunch of coats of paint on it. I was hoping that would be good enough. It's outdoor paint. You see here I made some holes in the doors. That's just a little bit of ventilation, and you'll see these doors flip straight down, but before I drop it all the way down, I covered the holes on the other side with some screening material. So I have I just started putting some of this it's just shredded paper. Worms like carbon and compost and paper, and I use cardboard a lot of times as bedding, and then you feed it, you know, scraps from your vegetables and stuff like that. So if you look in here, you can see kind of what I did. There's a channel between here. That's where the board's gonna go in the middle. So I'll just basically have the worms on one side, and I'll feed them, and then when they convert everything in here to basically worm poop, otherwise known as worm castings, which is basically the best thing you can do to fertilize your garden. It's highly nutritious. Worms do a great job of that. So once it's done on one side, I'm going to open up the middle and start feeding the other side. The worms should migrate to that side, and then I can, once I get most or all the worms into that one side, I will close it off again, and then I'll let this side dry out a little bit, and then I'll sweep it out and I'll use it in the garden. So that's 1/3, I would say, of the composting plan that we have here on the farm. The other is, you can probably see the pile back there. That's the slow pile. It's basically just, I've been putting a lot of the vegetables that I'll probably use in here in there, and just like letting it compost over time. It's actually doing pretty well. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a giant pumpkin patch in the pile back there. So it's hard to see, but it's basically the smaller, not that giant pile, that's just dirt, but there's a smaller pile that looks like a bunch of pumpkins. That's the compost patch right now. I'm trying to decide if I want to turn it with the pumpkins growing out of it. There's some pretty good sized pumpkins growing right now. I might just let it go and just see if we get some pumpkins out of it for fun, since it's a slow pile. And then I'm gonna create a right next to it, I have started another pile that I'm hoping to heat up quick and get quick turning compost in that. And then that's the I would say second tier of my compost operation. Then the third one is, I'm planning on taking some of these pallets that I have left over, and I'm gonna cut them up and make them into a kind of a, you know, 3-sided box, and then 2 of those, and then I'll probably line it with some hardware cloth, and just make some leaf mold compost, which is just basically leaves breaking down over time. And then you can turn it into the other pile and keep it aerated and stuff, and it breaks down a little bit quicker. But leaf mold takes a while to do also, but it's also one of the really good things you could do for your garden. So that's the plan for compost in the future. Right now I've been buying compost to build beds, but to sustain beds I want to make my own. So I have a 3-tier operation: the worm compost, the slow compost, and then hopefully a hot compost that I can do quicker, and then the leaf mold compost. So 3 kinds of compost. Very exciting day here on the farm. We just had delivered our first live animals. It's not that exciting, folks. I got my earthworms. Came from the Urban Worm Farm website. I got a bunch of. I didn't get the ones that were. Sorry, camera issues. You could get certified red wigglers if you want, or you can get the one that's a few bucks cheaper. That's almost all red wigglers, but might have a few others in there. So I just got that one. I figured I'm not really sure what kind of worms are going to do best in this new worm bin setup, but you can see what I did is I got this as a combination of cocoa core and some paper, shredded paper, some compost from over there, and a little bit of egg carton shell torn up in there. I think that makes good bedding. I've tried, in the worms in the past. I've always seemed to like it. It's actually really hot today. It's probably about 95, and this feels nice and cool. So it's been working, I think, as far as keeping the heat out. I'm gonna put a thermometer in there once I get these boys in there, or girls, or whatever they are. I guess earthworms are hermaphrodites. So the tranny worms, I got a bunch of tranny worms. So anyway, I'm gonna see how this works. Probably not gonna feed them right away. Let them get used to their environment. They'll eat the bedding, and I got some special worm food for them, and then I'm just gonna, once I get a little bit of that in there so they get happy, I'll start feeding them the table scraps, just mostly just vegetable scraps that I have at the house. So that's it. We got live animals on the farm, so now we're a real farm. All right. Well, looks like they're still alive. That's good. There's 2 bags. That was one of them, though.